Last month, I was able to accomplish something that I thought I would never be able to accomplish in my lifetime. I thought that this was impossible to accomplish because I thought that you needed to be some sort of special person. You needed to be some sort of outlier, some sort of outcast, smart. You have to be smart, intelligent, or be famous in order to achieve what I have achieved in a singular month. And to be able to say that I accomplished this at such a young age, at 19 years old, while being in college, is absolutely insane to say. It is an absolute surreal feeling. It is an insane feeling. I can't even describe it. To say that at 19 years old, I made in October, in 31 days, $103,338.72. $103,338.72 in October 2025. To be able to say that I did this at such a young age is just crazy. Because I thought that this was impossible in high school, in middle school. I thought people really couldn't do anything like this unless they were doing something illegal, or if they were famous, or just cheating the system. And the point of this video is not to flex. I honestly couldn't even care less about that. I don't have an ego. I'm not trying to ego you guys. I'm not trying to show that I'm a better person than you guys. In all honesty, I don't even really like sharing my finances. I just find that a more of a personal thing, and I like to keep it to myself. But this milestone, I think me making this video would benefit you guys a lot and show you guys that it is possible to do this at a young age, at 19, while still being in college. I'm making this video to motivate you guys, to inspire you guys. That is my main purpose of making this video. To say, again, to be able to do this at 19 while in college, there is no reason why you guys shouldn't be able to do something similar. You guys have no excuse to not be able to at least be making 5 figures a month, especially having some sort of entrepreneurial vision, entrepreneurial mindset. There is absolutely no reason why you can't do the same. Because if I am juggling classes, if I'm still going to school, and I made $100,000 last month, why can't you at least make 5 figures? Or if you're already making 5 figures, why can't you at least make, or not at least, why can't you make 6 figures a month? Why can't you? I'm not even talking about whatever field that you're in, but just in general, as a person, why can't you do the same? That's what you have to ask yourself. And especially for the college students, the people that are in college, that are around my age, watching this video, you have to stop having limiting mindsets. You guys have to stop having limiting beliefs, because this is possible, and I was once in that same boat as well. I thought that, I can't achieve this because it's too unrealistic. No, you need to be delusional. You need to, even without bounds, okay, even without reach. If it seems it's out of reach, so what? It doesn't matter. You need to be delusional, but not delusional in a sense where you think whatever you're doing right now is getting you to the point where you're going to be making that delusional amount of money that you talk about. And you shouldn't be prioritizing that delusion, right? Again, you shouldn't be prioritizing the money. You need to be prioritizing whatever that you are doing, the skills that you're learning. You need to prioritize how to get better at the skill that you are currently doing in order to get to those delusional amounts. And that is where so many people go wrong. And people don't talk about this enough. So many people are focused on making 5 figures a month, 6 figures a month, whatever it may be, before X date, doing this before X date. And if they don't do this before X date with whatever field that they're in, right? It could be trading, which is what I'm doing. If you guys are new to the channel and don't know what I do, I day trade and I teach people how to trade. I make content and I have long-term investments. Those are my sources of income. And people what they do is if they don't make X amount within a certain date with the skill that they're learning, they think it's a failure. They think it's a waste of time. And what they do is hop on to the next skill. They move over to the next skill, the next field, right? Trading doesn't work out. Okay, they go to e-commerce, they go to drop shipping, they go to sales. They try all these different things within a shorter period amount of time, and then they question why they're not seeing progress. Because you don't possibly have the time and effort to prioritize all these different skills at once, or you just aren't putting in the time and the effort into one skill or giving it enough trial and error to see it through, to see if it works out. You need to prioritize one skill at a time. You need to be good at one skill first and then look to expand and then look to add on other things that allow you to generate income. And again, focus on one thing at a time. Put in tons of time, put in tons of effort at one thing at a time and slowly scale. And that is exactly what I did to get to the point where I hit my first 6-figure month in October. This did not come overnight. This didn't come over months of time. This took 2 years in order from me to get from making $0 back in September 2023 to now making $100,000 in October. Because I focused on one skill, I saw it through till the end, and then I expanded on top of that. Starting in September 2023, I found out about trading. I worked super hard in order to get good at that one skill. I did everything that was possible in order to improve that skill. I didn't focus on the money. I didn't set a goal for myself to make X amount of money by date. Otherwise, I move on to the next thing. I never did that. I enjoyed the process. I focused on the journey, and I didn't focus on the money. Even though in trading, money is such a crucial factor because every action that you make is directly correlated to money. And still, I was able to completely avoid the money aspect and focus on what I need to be doing in order to get better at the skill. And then in return, generate money. Once I figured that out, started making content. And I started making content in February of this year when I already basically mastered the skill or found success in the skill of day trading. That is when I started to make content and showcase my skill. And then I started to teach people how to trade as well. And that's when I opened, my second business, my second stream of income, which is mentoring, right? So now I'm in a position where I'm able to mentor people and teach people how to do the same thing as me. And going back to the point, talking about you need to be focusing on one skill at a time and then scale, this is exactly what I'm talking about, and that is how I did it from my own experience. And on top of that, I also have investments. That's another source of income, right? But what did I focus on first? I focused on trading first. You have to think of it this way, right? In any sort of field that you're in, entrepreneurial related, once you chose that one thing, there's a reason why you chose that one skill, because you were genuinely interested in it and you wanted to try it out because it said something to you, right? There was a reason why you wanted to try it out. As soon as you pick that one skill, you're basically just signing a contract to yourself saying that, okay, I started this, I cannot leave, I cannot bounce just because I'm not seeing any sort of instant results within a month or 2 months. That is not enough time. A lot of you guys just rush the process. You guys are rushing the journey. You guys don't even have a story to tell because you've hopped from one thing to the next over and over again, and you guys aren't seeing any sort of results because you're not giving it the time, you're not giving it the effort. So that is one thing that I want to talk about, right? We covered that. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is people are not special. You have to understand that. It took me a long time to understand this as well. Again, like I said earlier, I thought you had to be some sort of special person in order to make 6 figures a month, 5 figures a month, in order to make a crazy amount of money. But you have to realize that these are all regular people. I am a regular person. Again, I go to college. I don't do anything that crazy. I don't have expensive cars. I don't live like in a crazy high-rise apartment. I have this watch. That's probably the only expensive thing that I actually own. Let me show you guys where I'm actually recording this video on right now. Give me a second, right? Look at this really quick. I'm just in a random study hall in my university recording this video right now with this nice view in the back. This is what I'm talking about, just putting it into perspective. You don't really you don't really need to be a special person. All right, you don't need to do special things in order to make money, in order to make a good amount of money, right? The only real difference, hold on, I'm just trying to charge this little camera right now. The only main difference is that these quote unquote special people, they decided to prioritize things in their life that other people decided not to prioritize, right? I guess the 99%, if you want to call it so. People, there's so many excuses. People make so many excuses to why they can't do this, why they can't do that. But in reality, they just don't want to do it because they're satisfied with doing things that they enjoy. But in reality, to get to the place where you want to be, you have to do things that you don't necessarily enjoy. But you know if you do these things, that will get you to the point where you want to be in your life. For example, as a college student, I can speak from experience, right? I see a lot of people around campus, they like to prioritize drinking, partying on the weekends. Their mindset is, okay, they study hard on the weekdays and on the weekends they let loose and they think, or they believe that they've accomplished things, right? Or they're satisfied with doing those things. And again, if you're one of those people, that's all good. There's no harm or like whatever. I'm not hating on you is basically what I'm trying to say. I am not hating on you if that's the person that you are. That is completely fine. But most of you guys that are watching this video right now, you guys are having some sort of entrepreneurial vision. You guys have a entrepreneurial mindset, and these aren't the people that you're trying to be, right? That is not how you're trying to live your life. Now, what really separates those people and the person that you want to be is just being able to prioritize things that you don't want to do in your life. So if you don't want to, for example, in backtesting or in trading, if you don't want to backtest, but you don't have a profitable strategy and you're pushing away backtesting. So what is that doing in return? That is taking away from the ability of you being able to get to where you want to be in your life, making the money that you want to be making in your life because you're avoiding backtesting. And instead, you're hanging out with your friends, or you're going to a party, you're getting drunk, you're smoking, you're doing a whole bunch of bullshit. So it's all about setting priorities in your life, prioritizing things that other people don't prioritize in their lives. And I get it. I mean, most of the people that are watching this video right now, they're young. They want to be living like they want to be enjoying their young years, right? Their young adulthood years. And it makes sense. And if that's you, I mean, that can be you. There's no hate against that. But there are people out there, same age as us, right, that are doing much more than everybody else at the same age, in the same situation that they once was in, right, compared to you, right? They were in similar situations as you that you are in right now, and they got out of that situation and they are doing things that you dream of doing. There you go. That's the way I wanted to word it. I can't speak English right now for some reason. But going on to the point where who you should be competing against, right? So what is your competition? Do you want your competition to be people that are below you, people that are doing the things that you don't want to do? Or do you want to be competing against people that you want to be like, that you want to get like? Who is your competition? A lot of you guys compare yourself to people that are doing the things that you don't want to do. And how is that going to help you become a better person? How is that going to help you grow? How is that going to motivate you? How is that going to fuel you? For me, for example, I compare myself to people that are doing much more than me at my age. They are accomplishing greater things at 19 years old. That is my competition because that is what fuels me. That is what motivates me to do more. Because I already know that I've accomplished a lot more than other 19 years old or 19-year-olds. Can't speak again. I've accomplished more than other 19-year-olds in college especially. So why am I comparing myself to people that are doing the things that I don't want to do, right? I don't want to party. I don't want to smoke. I don't want to drink. That is not my competition. Last thing that I want to say, the very, very last thing that I want to say is you cannot be prioritizing the money. You cannot be focusing on the singular dollar amounts. Okay, I know I covered this a little bit earlier in the video, but I want to talk more about the specifics. A lot of people talk about money isn't everything, whatever it may be, but they're speaking from a perspective where they already have all these nice things. Right? They have these nice cars, these nice watches. They've experienced all these things, and it's easier for them to say that because after they buy these things, they realize that money really isn't everything, right? But for you guys that haven't experienced how it feels, and for me, I haven't experienced how it feels either. So honestly, I'm just saying this to myself as well. I haven't experienced how it feels, and I got to the point where money isn't everything. But I have a little taste of it, right? I've made a good amount of money. I made 6 figures last month at 19. And even though I haven't, bought a whole bunch of crazy things, I've kind of realized that money really isn't everything. You make the money and then what? So instead of focusing on the money, instead of prioritizing how much money you can make in a singular month, how much money can you make in a singular year, focus on what you need to do, right? Focusing on the skills, focusing on the process, the outcome, the journey. Sorry, not the outcome, but the journey, right? The process, the skills. Focusing on those things that will not only give you more enjoyment, but you don't even realize how much money that you're making. And that is the absolute beautiful thing about entrepreneurship. When you don't even realize, when you're so locked into whatever that you are doing, that you don't even realize how much money that you're actually making from doing what you love, right? From doing the thing that you want to do. I didn't even know that I hit 6 figures in October. I didn't even know that I hit 6 figures in October until 3 days ago. I randomly opened my bank and I checked the income transactions and I saw that I hit 6 figures. That is literally why I'm making this video. I actually probably wouldn't even made this video if I didn't even see that in my bank. And what does that show? That I don't care about the amount of money that I'm making anymore. Okay, that is something that I used to prioritize so long ago. And what did that do for me? Me fantasizing how much money that I'm making or that I want to be making, what is that doing in order to actually get me to the point where my fantasies become true? My fantasies about money become true. That's not doing anything to get me to that point. So what can I actually focus on? What are the controllable aspects of my life? The skills that I'm able to learn, how I'm able to grow, and whatever comes after that, the outcome that I get after learning the skills, that's just the result. Right? That's just the outcome that I have gotten, the results that I have gotten after putting in the work in order to perfect my craft. That is now the way that I look at it. And that is the way that you should be looking at it as well. And I know it is super, super hard to say, especially if you're watching this video in a situation that you don't want to be in. But I was also once in that situation. You have to realize all these people that you have watched, all these people that you look up to, they were also once in the situation that you are in right now. And you need to be in this situation in order to get to where you want to be in your life. You need to enjoy the obstacles. You need to enjoy the hardships. You need to enjoy the struggle. And when I mean enjoy, I obviously don't mean you should be ecstatic with the situation that you're currently in. But when I say enjoy, is that you want to be in some way appreciative that you are in a position where you're able to go through the struggles, right? Compared to other people that don't even have the opportunity to do that, to do or even attempt what you want to do. You have to be appreciative that you have the opportunity to even face some sort of struggles, to face some sort of hardship in order to better your life. Because once you get to that point where you're able to achieve what you want to achieve, right? Where you're able to achieve everything that you dreamt of, you look back on the situation that you once was in, right? That you once was where it was, I don't know, I can't speak English, that you once were in, I think it's were, right? That you once were in. And then you realize that you needed these hardships, you needed these obstacles, you needed to overcome these in order to get to where you are right now, right? Or where you want to be. And you need to cherish those moments because that is what truly defines your journey. And if you don't have those, it becomes more of a hobby rather than a skill that you've actually learned. It's more of just a side hustle where you're making money from it because you don't have an actual journey. You don't have an actual story to tell, any experiences, any hardships that you've overcame. And in return, that hobby that you've picked up, that side hustle that you've picked up, doesn't become sustainable because you don't have enough experience gained. You don't have enough hardships endured in that field to where you can say that it is a career. With that being said, I am super, super proud of myself. Honestly, this video has now just become for me. I will be definitely watching this video again. And to be able to say that I did this at such a young age, after 2 years, 2 whole years of not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, not knowing if this was even possible, right? Not knowing where I wanted to be in my life, to be able to say that now, 2 years later in October, I made $103,000 in a singular month. It's crazy because I can't even fathom it right now. I don't know what to feel. I don't know the emotions that I'm currently feeling right now. But all I can say right now, how I'm feeling right now, is that I'm not feeling anything. I just feel like a regular person, and that is exactly who I am. I am just a regular person. So with that being said, don't let anything stop you from chasing what you want to chase, doing what you want to do. And don't have a limiting mindset.